Ladies and gentlemen, the Dean Martin Comedy Hour presents a special 90-minute roast with tonight's guests, Dan Rowan, Jack Klugman, Dick Martin, Joey Bishop, Cliff Robertson, Lauren Green, Kelly Savalas, Rich Little, Bob Newhart, Foster Brooks, Nipsey Russell, Pat Henry, Charlie Callis, Captain Eugene Cernan, Carol Channing, Phyllis Dillard, Kirk Douglas, and your roastmaster, Dean Martin. And tonight's very special Man of the Week, Mr. Don Rickles.
Tonight, we're roasting Don Rickles. Rickles is the man about whom Adolf Hitler once said, "From him I could learn." Don's idea of fun evening is to show home movies of the attack on Pearl Harbor with a laugh track. Yeah, Don's got a great sense of humor. He gets his kicks calling in phony reprieves to the death house. Don Rickles has the distinction of being the only civilian that was ever impeached. Don inherited his sense of humor. His mother and father were great practical jokers. That's how Don was born. He was even a rotten kid. One Christmas he hung his sock on the tree and the tree died. You're burning, but you're laughing, I know. But that's all behind Don now. Today he's a much bigger success than I am. After all, he's had 4 TV series and I've only had 1. Oh boy, they say that behind every clown is a sad man. In Don's case, it's Robert Wood, the president of CBS. Few people know this, but Don's worked hard in show business to attain one goal, to save up enough money to send his mother back behind the Iron Curtain. It's always a pleasure now, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to introduce Mr. Joey Bishop. Joey was a little late getting here. He was in Johnny Carson's garage loosening Johnny's brakes. One of my favorite comedians, Mr. Joey Bishop.
When they asked me to appear on the dais for Don Rickles, I said, I don't know what to say about Don Rickles. And they said, say whatever you want to say. Okay, Don Rickles is a bedwetter. Not only the bed, everywhere. He's the only one on the dais with a rubber tuxedo. I really, in my heart, I must say, I cannot believe we're paying tribute to him. I mean it. I mean, we've had big names here. Then we go to him. Or who we honoring next week? Prickly Heat? We're going to honor somebody. I honor a man like Dr. Jonas Salk. A man who helps fight diseases. Why are we honoring a carrier? And is known for his hostility. And I ask you from the bottom of my heart, what has he to be hostile about? What can a short, paunchy, bold, old, ugly person possibly had to be hostile about. Be happy-go-lucky, you devil. Does have a great sense of humor. I mean, not on stage. I'm talking about practical jokers, number one. You remember the time you took the safety belt off of Mickey Rooney's toilet seat? Remember that? Mickey almost drowned? Then I found out, and this was the shocker, because I know you don't gamble in Vegas. You don't go to the track. I found out you're a bingo addict. I called your wife, Barbara. I said, Barbara, what is Don really like? And she said, every night, bingo. I'm sure you all know why we are here, because we love this gentleman. Don Rickles is a fine person, a great entertainer, a wonderful father, and a great husband. In spite of what he says on stage, I know in my heart that he's really a good egg, and you all know where eggs come from.
Thank you, Joey. A little while back, Phyllis Diller had a facelift, and it really did wonders for her. Now when she walks down the street, the guys look at her and say, oh, boy, that's because she looks like one. Ladies and gentlemen, a nice lady, a lovely lady, a great comedian, Miss Phyllis Diller.
Thank you very much, Dean. You know, the man we are roasting tonight took first prize on this last Halloween for his costume. He painted the top of his head blue and went as a ballpoint pen. He's sort of unlucky, you know. He lost all his hair and still has dandruff. My friend Don Rickles has all the charm of an earthquake. And I wrote this junk myself. But he's kind to animals. Every night he puts his cat out with ether. They should never pull the pin out of the grenade in his mouth. Not getting any better. You know, if they're bad, there's no saving them. Don, baby, you know I'm only kidding with all of this. I wish I could say how I really feel about you. But then I'd never get on television again.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most distinguished actor, the star of Grief, Griffin. Mr. Lauren Green.
Don is a very big favorite of mine. But then, of course, I've always liked animal acts. I've been listening here to people casting aspersions on Don and about his ability in many areas, but particularly as a comic. And I think that's rather cruel. And as an actor, I object to the discrimination. Because Don is a pretty rotten thespian, too. You know what a thespian is, Dean?
Oh, sure. I got a turn down from one of them the other night.
Right on. Well, let me say this about Don Rickles as an actor. He's had a very long theatrical career. You could list all his hit shows on a piece of confetti. And not many people know this. This is a fact, but Don was part of the Bonanza cast for all the 14 years we were on television. He was our fourth son. The one we kept in a home. But Don is now blessed with a very beautiful wife, Barbara, 2 marvelous children, and a mother who has moved to Florida, changed her name, and sends Don money every week to stay away. Don, there will always be a place for you in the theater. A place where you can do the thing which you are greatest at doing. And it's right up the aisle, second to the left.
Our next guests are Rowan and Martin. If you've seen them, you know that they're a very unusual team. 2 straight men. Ladies and gentlemen, a couple of real funny guys, Dan Rowan and Dick Martin.
We're on Martin's spot.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is it.
We have not come to praise Don Rickles, nor have we come to bury him.
No.
He has managed to do that pretty well over the years himself. Now, we have always wondered why Don is so successful and can only be laid to his material.
Great material.
Right. So we have collected some of the greatest of Don Rickles' material, and every word you're going to hear is from Don Rickles' own mouth. These
Verbatim.
are direct quotes.
Right.
What did you say?
Verbatim.
Very good.
Thank you. First of all, here's one here. It's just in case there's a colored guy on the dais. It says
There
here,
happens to be one.
Yeah. To you, Nipsey, sorry about the seating arrangement. At first, they wanted you out in the hall with a bucket. Here, I'll make you feel at home. All aboard!
If there's a Mexican on it, is there a Mexican in the audience?
Must be.
You Mexicans. Hello, Jose. You Mexicans never fool around with a wife. You're too busy laying on the floor fixing the mud so it don't cave in. Anyway, gang. What is anyway? What is
It says it a
anyway?
lot. I don't know.
Anyway, gang.
Anyway, gang.
I must have read it wrong.
I guess so. Sir, you're Welsh, huh? I'll make you feel at home. Woo! Mine cave in. You'll never see a Jew coal miner. They're usually in the cabin saying, Irving, there's a cave-in down there. But anyway, gang.
Anyway, gang. I spent a very thrilling evening with... These are... Come back to haunt you, don't they? I spent a very thrilling evening with Dean Martin once. I watched a fly go up a drape. Anyway, gang.
I think there's more to that.
Oh, but we need the Italians. That's right. This is the savor.
Yeah.
What for? Oh, yeah. Your pizza's ready, lady.
I quote the words of the great Indian, Geronimo, as he jumped on his horse. Ooh! Anyway, gang.
He does that a lot. He quotes it. Remember the words of Abraham Lincoln, who said to his black servant, "Stop that tap dancing and give me back my high hat." Anyway, gang.
One of the greatest black men of our day, Rufus Johnson, said in Augusta, Georgia, "Run, baby, run!" And the Jew was right behind him saying, "Look, I'll sell you a bike."
only fair to tell you he's the one that divided these up. Look I quote the words of a great General Robert E. Lee, who said at Gettysburg, "I think we blew it."
You there, fella, how long you been married? 4 days? God bless you. Young Jewish kid, right? If her father-in-law dies, what kind of work are you out of?
I know that you gave me these, but you should have taken this one because I don't understand. What is this?
That's the biggie.
What do you mean?
That's the one that does it.
What is this? This is his exit.
This is the funniest.
This is how he closes the act.
Yeah.
In show business, you close with a big one.
Right.
I'll do my best for it.
Go ahead.
Show business is my life. My humor, ladies and gentlemen, is directed in a way to laugh at ourselves.
It's beautiful.
If you accept it in that spirit, I am deeply grateful. If not, where's the hell's the punchline?
Right here.
Oh, we're getting to it.
Yeah.
If not, I wish you what you deserve, a glass of hot milk and a trip to Tijuana.
That's it.
That's the finish. Hey, Don. That's it.
Would you all please welcome the man who writes every word that comes out of Don's mouth?
Thank you, Dino, baby. It is a real kick in the tuchus to be here tonight, honoring my buddy boys, that real sweetheart of a guy, Donald Rickles. This is the man who gave me my break in show business. It is not easy getting started as a writer. Not too many comics come to Argentina shopping for jobs. Send his regards. It has been an honor and a pleasure to be associated with you. You are a real pussycat. I have watched you perform in New York, in Hollywood, in Miami Beach, in Paris, in London, in Vegas. You are the only man I know who has bombed more places than I have.
Fine actor, Mr. Casey Kassan, ladies and gentlemen. When it comes to comedy, Bobby Newhart knows where it's at. Why he don't go get it, I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, the funniest psychiatrist I know, Mr. Bob Newhart.
Bob Newhart spot. Don is my best friend, which just gives you some idea of the difficulty I have in making friends. As some of you may have already known, Don's hotel room was recently robbed. The only thing that was taken was the music to Don's act. So far, the Chicago police have picked up 33,000 people who might have had a possible motive. Don is just about to sign one of the largest deals in the history of Las Vegas. Why he is signing Frank's deal, we'll never know. But Don has not done that well in television. He's had 4 series now. The last one, a couple of Dons received a -4 Nielsen rating. This means not only was no one watching, but several people without TV sets had heard about the show and said if they got one, they wouldn't watch it. But that doesn't matter. I'm going to get it later, so I may as well stay up here a few more times. But Don's career continues to skyrocket. Will be announced in a few days in the trades, in the papers, that Don has been chosen as the national spokesman for Preparation H, which we're all quite excited about. Many unkind things have been said about Don. As his best friend, I think it's incumbent upon me to tell you the true facts. And I don't think Don will take umbrage at this because Don doesn't know what the hell umbrage means. It's been said that Don never helps other performers. I remember when I was starting out, Don pulled me aside and gave me some advice. We have a saying in our business, be nice to people on the way up because you meet the same people on the way down. Don told me you run into entirely different people and the hell with them. Many people say Don is not a good father, but Don is very proud of his daughter Mindy and his son Larry. I know this, I was in his house at the time. Larry came in, Larry wanted a turtle, and Don rushed out, because anything Larry wants, he immediately rushes to get, as soon as the football game is over. And he brought him back a turtle, and Larry gave it to him the next day and said, the turtle has blisters on his feet. And Don took it back to the pet shop. And the owner said, that's impossible, that turtles don't get blisters on their feet, and gave him some salve. And Don helped Larry put the salve on the turtle's feet. And the next day, Don brought back the turtle. It again had blisters. This went on for 5 days. Finally gave him a new turtle. Don took it back to Larry and gave it to him. And just as he was leaving, he turned around. Something told him to turn around, and there was Larry going, rum, rum.
Diamonds may be a girl's best friend, but Carol is an audience's best friend. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the lovely and talented star of Lorelei, Miss Carol Channing.
Thank you. You know, I cannot understand why everyone here tonight keeps picking on poor dear sweet Don. He's really a very good-hearted man. Truly he is. I remember once when I was appearing at the Waldorf Astoria in New York, and I used to sing a number called Don't Take Your Love From Me. Well, I was singing this song one night, and when I got to the part that goes, would you take the wings from birds so that they can't fly? Don was the only person in the audience who stood up and shouted, yes, yes. I love audience participation, don't you? Yes. Oh, he's a dear. Yes. So you see, I am here tonight as one of Don Rickles' friends. It's a minority group. So many terrible things have been said about Don tonight that I would like to say a few nice words about him. You see, I'm not like all of you gentlemen here on the dais. I don't hate Don. Really, I don't, because as our president said, you can't hate anybody you don't respect.
Now I'd like to introduce Nipsey Russell. Nipsey is living proof that black is beautiful. Not funny, but beautiful. Here he is, my good pal, Mr. Nipsey Russell.
They found an orangutan suffering with a hernia, fed him poison from a rattlesnake bite, gave him the soothing voice of a wild hyena, and he is man of the week tonight. Don Rickles, who has the personality of a lemon taster, is not without compassion for his fellow performer. When Peg Leg Bates was seriously ill and down on his luck, Don Rickles gave him money. He said, I know it's tough on you, Peg. Here's a few dollars to help you out till you get back on your foot. He has suffered rejection, frustration. Only yesterday, in a moment of flirtatious, sexy attitude, he tried to pick up a woman on Hollywood and Vine. And he was chased away by the two Boy Scouts that were helping her across the street. She hit him with a crutch. It's because you're hostile, Don. Pattern after Dean Martin, a sex symbol and a superstar who upped his prestige in the business through charm and grace. He upped his prestige, Don. Up yours. He said to Dean Martin, he said, Dean, in my act, I do a song called I'm a Nice Guy. He said, but my musical performance is a little awkward. What should I do with my hands while I'm singing? Dean said, put them over your mouth. In his humor, he makes some ethnic slurs. Well, once when we were all in Florida, I saw Sammy Davis Jr. water skiing through the Everglades, enjoying himself immensely. At the wheel of that boat in the broiling hot sun, pulling Sammy Davis on the water skis, was Don Rickles. I had to shout my commendation. I said, Don, you're beautiful. Working so hard to entertain your little friend. I said, you're personifying brotherhood. He said, I'm baiting alligators. Has won many friends in many places, and before many groups by his philosophical observations. Before a physical fitness group, he said, if you want to look young, hang out with old people. At a Billy Graham revival, he said, if you want to be forgiven for your sins, the first thing you got to do is sin. At the Naval Academy, he said, don't give up the ship, sell it. To Marlon Brando, he said, forget about the Indians. If they're not happy the way we treat them, let them go back where they came from. I was going to write a song about you tonight, Don, but the notes on the piano don't go that low. So I say to you, blow the trumpet of brotherhood, beat the freedom drum, but don't sing along with my people or we shall not overcome.
Mr. Cliff Robertson is a fine actor who won an Oscar for his portrayal of an imbecile in the movie Charlie. And after you hear him, you'll know why they picked him for that part. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most versatile actors in Hollywood, Mr. Cliff Robertson.
Thank you, Dean. I'm very happy to be here tonight because I happen to know something about Don Rickles that might interest you. For the past 20 years, Don has been leading a double life. By night, he's one of America's foremost comedians, the king of the insult, the pasha of the put-down. But by day, he has a different profession. By day, Don Rickles is a priest. That's right. He's pastor right here in Los Angeles at the parish of St. Hockey Puck. I don't know why you should be so surprised to find out that Don is a priest. After all, Joey's a bishop, and Eva Marie's a saint, and I'm in a hell of a lot of trouble right now. Father Don has totally devoted his life to good works. Every penny he earns as a comedian, he donates to the Don Rickles Home for the Incurably Obnoxious. Some of his congregation have taken a while to get used to Don's style in the sermon. The church organist wasn't too flattered when Don asked him where his monkey was. And a little nun was a little startled once when Don told the man sitting next to her to please keep his penguin on a leash. Few people were taken aback at first by Don's version of the marriage ceremony. Do you, dum-dum, take this fish face to be your lawfully wedded yo-yo? But Don has been very successful as a priest. The members of his parish are very careful not to commit any sins whatsoever. That's because for a penance, Don makes them watch reruns of his old TV series.
Incidentally, some of Don's friends couldn't be here. You're amazed how I can talk without looking at the cue card, aren't you? But they sent you some wires, and I'm going to read some.
Okay.
I am. Oh, God. I never saw you this close up, you know. Yeah, horrible. There's one from Herb Schlosser, the president of NBC. Dear Don, you had a series on ABC Friday night at 10 o'clock. It was canceled. Then you had a series on CBS Friday night at 10:30, and that was canceled. Do me a favor, Don. Get off Dean's show fast. Our next guest is Jack Klugman. You all know Jack. He's half of The Odd Couple. Maybe next time we'll get the funny half. Ladies, I'm the winner of 2 Emmy Awards, Mr. Jack Klugman.
Don has appeared with a lot of great stars, as we know. He's Clark Gable and Tony Curtis, Debbie Reynolds, Clint Eastwood. He has appeared with them all. Once. What a performance he gave in the movie Rat Race. It almost got him the lead in Willard. Then he made a very important film, Bikini Beach. Remember that? He played a sand dab in Heat. Then, in quick succession, he was really hot. He made The Man with the X-Ray Eyes and Enter Laughing and Kelly's Heroes. Those pictures they really make it easy to sum up his movie career in one word. Over. And you remember, again, he's faking. Don't fake the laughter. But he's going to make a sensational comeback because next week, Don starts his own life story. He's going to film Deep Mouth.
Thank you, Jack. And now I'd like you to meet Pat Henry. Pat worked and traveled with Frank Sinatra for years, which is one of the reasons Frank went into retirement. Very funny comedian, Mr. Pat Henry.
Thank you, Dave. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, there's something about Don Rickles very few people know. First of all, Don was born an only twin. And to look at Don, you know he wasn't a very pretty baby. In fact, at birth, when the doctor held him up, he slapped him right in the face. his mother saw him, she slapped the doctor in the face. As you know, Don was a bottle-fed baby. Even his mother didn't trust him up close. To get on the good side of all the kids at school, Don would tell him he had ESP. Unfortunately, he was trying to spell car. But you want to know what kind of a guy Don really is? He once invited Jewel Gibbons over for lunch. He served him poison ivy.
One of Don's closest friends couldn't be with us tonight because he's up in Canada filming on location. But he insisted on being a part of tonight's roast. So, ladies and gentlemen, direct from Montreal, here's one of Hollywood's foremost actors, Mr. Kirk Douglas.
Thank you, Dean. I'm sorry to be up here in Montreal when you're roasting Rickles down there. That's always been my favorite dish. Roast weasel. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. After all, weasels have feelings, too. But actually, I owe a great deal to my good friend Don. You see, when an actor prepares for a character, he gets ideas from observing real people all around him. And Don Rickles has always been a real character. Now, in many pictures, I patterned my characterizations after him. For example, I'm doing a picture up here in Montreal right now that's based a little bit on Don. It's called Mousy. Now, if it was really based on Don completely, it would have been called The Rat. I remember that in Spartacus, I played a gladiator who fought more than 300 men to death. That was based on Don. He can't get along with anybody either. Yeah, Don gave me the inspiration for the dual role of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You know anybody more two-faced than Don? He also gave me my characterization for the trumpet player in Young Man with a Horn, because he's another blowhard with a lot of lip. Now, in The Bad and the Beautiful, though, it was 50-50. I used myself for the beautiful and him for the bad. But in Champion, my prize fighter like Don didn't know when to quit. And finally, in my last picture, Scalawag, I played a peg-leg pirate who, like Don, doesn't have a leg to stand on, but he sure knows how to steal the money and run. Good luck, Don.
Our next guest is the great impressionist, Mr. Rich Little. Yes, sir, Rich can be anybody he wants to be. Why he chose to be Rich Little, I'll never know.
When you're in the business as long as me, you'll know how to read them lines, baby.
A really great talent, Mr. Rich Little.
Thank you, Dean, for that strange introduction. Don, I'm a nice guy.
I'm so delighted that Carol Shannon could be here this evening instead of staying at home and watching Milt Chamberlain drop basketballs in her mouth.
Hey, it really is an honor to be here tonight to pay tribute to this truly outstanding human being, Don Rickles. Not many people know this, but Don recently volunteered to take part in a series of experiments being conducted at the UCLA Medical Center. See, they're trying out new drugs on Don to see if they're safe for rats. I did that as myself. But, and got a laugh. The hell with the impressions. That's what you've been saying for years, right? Why don't you go home and take a warm bath? Why don't you rub a duck drum? Hey, I've really been looking forward to this occasion. In fact, a few nights ago, I had a dream about Don Rickles. Just my luck. Actually, it was more a nightmare. I dreamt that all the world's major political leaders had gathered at the White House in Washington for a conference to bring peace to the world. And in my dream, Don Rickles was President of the United States. And he was greeting them all. Now, here are some of the things that President Rickles was saying in my dream. King Faisal of Saudi Arabia, so glad you could come. Hope you find a parking place for your camel. Anyway, may I say something, Your Highness? And I say this from the bottom of my heart. You gotta be the ugliest king I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Your face was a building and be condemned. Anyway, gang. Mopsy Todd. Oh, I love you. You're a wonderful little guy. You little taggy. I know you got a lot on your mind, but try and remember next time, no starch in the collar, huh? Fidel Castro, what are you doing here tonight, you hockey puck? What'd you do, get a note from the Russians saying you could take the night off? Incidentally, is that a beard or you sticking your head under your armpit? Anyway, gang. Is he coming towards me? Huh? If you see teeth, it's not an ivory hunt. Anyway, gang. Isn't this fun, huh, Don? Huh? Isn't this fun staying up late and everything, huh? Isn't this great and this better than sitting around the house discussing your next series? Anyway, gang. Hey, look who's here, all the way from the Soviet Union. Mr. and Mrs. Brezhnev. Don't tell me. Let me guess which one is which. Huh? Hey, Premier Tanaka of Japan. I saw. What are you looking so scared for, you hockey puck? John Wayne's not here tonight. Hey, the last time I was in Tokyo, I met your beautiful wife and your lovely kids. And I must say, that's quite a set of Tanakas she's got there. And then all of a sudden, I awoke. The dream was over. I was awakened by the telephone. I picked it up. It was Don Rickles' agent telling me he wanted $75,000 for appearing in my dream.
You know, because of Don's biting style of humor, some people have the idea that he has a cruel streak. Don't you believe it? And so, knowing what a fine person Don Rickles really is, it hurts me when I hear stories about him that I know to be false. And I would like to take this opportunity to deny some of these nasty rumors. In the first place, it's not true that when Don was a little boy, he used to hide his grandmother's bedpan in the freezer. Simply untrue. Nor is it true that he staples worms to the ground so that birds trying to pull them out will get hernias. It's not true that Don once said to Pope Paul, "Tell me, Your Holiness, how come a guy as successful as you never married?" And it is absolutely untrue that in Don's home there is a roll of sandpaper in the guest bathroom. All these stories are completely false. Don Rickles is the kindest, sweetest, nicest person you will ever meet. And I am the Queen of Romania. Well, our next speaker is one of Hollywood's outstanding actors, Telly Savalas. a man whose talent outshines his head. Ladies and gentlemen, the star of Kojak, Mr. Kelly Savalas.
Blow the whistle on you, baby. Thank you, dear. You know, they say that hate and love are very close emotions. And Don Rickles here is proof of that because he's one of the few people I hate to love. And I can say that sincerely. Because for a long time now, Don has been or he claims to be one of my best friends. During our early days in New York, he used to babysit for me. He's much more mature, as you know. Don and I were inseparable. We had the kind of friendship that nothing could ever break up. It lasted until he moved across the street. But to this day, I know I can count on him. In any emergency, Don, he's always right there when he needs me. And you know, I played a very big part in Don's life. I was the one who introduced him to Barbara. Barbara, I'm sorry. Barbara's his wife. So I get the pick of the litter. I also helped straighten her tooth before she married Don. But she wound up with this molar. You know, Don and I made a picture together in Yugoslavia. It's called Kelly's Heroes. Yugoslavia, oh, Don, you never forget. One of the few places in the world where you can still enjoy yourself without having a good time. After the movie was completed, the whole gang chipped in, presented Don with a gift certificate for 25 electric shock treatments. Someone wants to find an actor as a person who tries to be everything but himself. In Don Rickles' case, believe me, anything else but himself would be an improvement.
An affair like this would not be complete without our next guest. He's famous for his after-dinner speeches. He's one of the legends of show business, and he certainly needs no introduction. So. But here he is, a wonderful man.
I come here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on this sad and solemn occasion to salute our dearly departed friend, Don Rickles. Words alone cannot convey the grief that I feel in my heart for this wonderful man who was taken away from us all too soon. By the hand of our Heavenly Father. However, we can all take solace knowing that Don has gone and entered that big stage door in disguise. To join the other greats from the halcyon days of show business. Such luminaries as George M. Cohan, Al Jolson, and Ricardo Cortez. Ladies and gentlemen, Don Rickles shall not pass this way again, and for that we can all be grateful. But let me just for a moment recount to you those last poignant days in Don's life. Before the final curtain rang down for eternity, his lovely wife, Barbara,
came to his deathbed with her new fiancé, George Burns. Surface of hatred and cruelty was a layer of warmth and love. And under that layer, ladies and gentlemen, was another layer of even more hatred and cruelty. There's much more I can say, but I have to leave. I'm doing a moral Griffin. And now it is the request of the family that we all get into our limousines and drive out to Don's final resting place, the Forest Lawn Animal Cemetery. Donald, all I can say, sweetie pie, rest in peace.
That's Mr. Tony Callis, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome a great astronaut and a great pal of our Man of the Week, Captain Eugene Cernan.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dean. I very sincerely want to say I'm very proud to be called a friend of Don's, and it's certainly a privilege to share with you this evening this honor. I guess you'd call it an honor that you're bestowing upon Don, because from what I've heard, you deserve it all. The real reason I'm here this evening is that I've been credited with what many call a remarkable accomplishment. I'm one of a handful of men who have achieved the near impossible. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I, Gene Cernan, have actually spent 10 whole minutes with Don Rickles without belling him in the mouth. I've known Don for quite a few years. As a matter of fact, that may be one of the main reasons that I chose to go to the moon. Hopefully to get a little peace and quiet for a change. And wouldn't you know it, while we're out there 250,000 miles away from home on our way to the moon, someone decided to pipe up your act, Don, up into the spacecraft. I later found out that our mission was a little bit more than just a lunar landing, but it was somewhat of an endurance test. They were actually checking our threshold of pain. But you know, very sincerely, Don, you would have made a great astronaut, and I really do mean that. If we decided to send Don Rickles to the moon, I know we'd all save a lot of money, because I'm sure the vote in America would be for a one-way trip. God bless you.
Speaker has never met Don Rickles. Boy, that's a lucky guy. But he asked especially if he could come here tonight just to pay tribute to him. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Mr. Foster Brooks.
Thank you very much. As the Puerto Rican gentleman just told you, I have never met Don Rickles. In fact, he's probably wondering what I'm doing here. He has never even never even seen. He has never seen me before. He has never heard of me, and our paths have never crossed. However, Mr. Rickles, you and I do have an indirect relationship. You see, I'm fooling around with your wife. So you see, we do have something in common. I hope you understand, Don, that we have tried to keep this very, very discreet. So don't tell anybody, will you? My wife would be furious if she found out about it. Don, I really must compliment you on your spouse, Mrs. Pickles. I say that because she's a real dilly. And I must also admit you have a very lovely home. Incidentally, you're out of scotch. And if you happen to think of it, pick up some pretzels. Do you know, Don, what your wife and I love to do most? Watching you while you're on TV. When you're on, we just laugh and chuckle and giggle, and sometimes we even turn the sound on. And we are always sad when you finish your act. That means you're on your way home, and I better cheese it. Which reminds me, you're out of Velveeta, too. Now, please, Don, don't blame your lovely wife for any of this. Our getting together was all my doing. It's all my fault. I happen to be the one who answered her ad in the Hollywood Free Press. You know, your wife thinks very, very highly of you, Don. She tells me you are a wonderful man. And I know that you must be to put up with all her snoring. She tells me that since she's been Mrs. Rickles, she says every day with you is Thanksgiving. By golly, that's what she gets for marrying the turkey.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for revenge. Here's our man of the week, the merchant of venom, Mr. Don Rickles.
Mr. Chairman, honored guests, Monsignor Duffy, and Rabbi Kinberg, and Deacon Leroy. Some jerks in the back know Deacon Leroy.
Well, kiss my gathering.
It is without question, in fairness to Mr. Dean Martin, this has been one of the longest evenings I've ever spent in my life, except for the drunk, who was just charming. I know the hour is late. The dinner was absolutely fantastic, I must say that. A bowl of peanuts and water with a guppy in it. One of the cheapest. I would like to tell you something about this. They make it seem to you out there in television land that we're all here with big turkey dinner or something going. These people are all called, and my name is mentioned like he don't care. He's at home with his wife going, everybody loves somebody. He doesn't know he's here right now. But he's a millionaire, and he says, hey, as a favor, I'll come down and we'll kid with the Jew for a couple hours. I say to you, Dean, with all sincerity, if Italy goes to war, so help me, I'll back the other side. Could you imagine if Italy was at war and he was a general? Hey, I think we ought to attack. But I'd like to clear up a matter right off the bat and tell you from the top. Tonight I'm very delighted because this is a long road. I had my first big break on the Dean Martin show through Dean and Greg Garrison, his producer, when they put me on the show for the first time with every celebrity in Hollywood, and I was completely perspiring to the death of me. And I'd like to say right out in front, so it's not lost in tape, that I thank you, Dean, really, because if it wasn't your wonderful believing in me, and Greg, really, maybe this day would not have come about. And I'm forever grateful to you. Really. Dean said he'll drink to that. God bless you, Dean. His lovely wife sits by the bed every night saying, try to reach the medicine. Because when you go this time, a lot of women are going to collect. No, he's got a lovely wife. What's her name? Tasha? Catherine. She's a lovely girl. You'll find her in the lobby later going, would you buy me a sweater? Poverty-stricken broad. It's embarrassing, it really is. I'd like to say, going down the line, first of all, Nipsey Russell, a dear friend. Many, many times you've asked to hang out with me, but I felt it embarrassing. I, being a Jew, I don't need no watermelon truck around me, I'll tell you that right now. And don't put that over your head. A couple of guys from Georgia will come up here. But I love you, Nipsey. Black or white, it doesn't matter to me. Our society today, we are all brothers in arms, as Nipsey told you people out there. We just got to get America to buy that. Now, I love Nipsey. We have a seal in the crowd. I'd like to say to Telly Savalas, from the bottom of my heart, really, Telly, I kid you, I've never liked you as an actor. And Telly's the kind of guy with no money that keeps saying to the Russian girls, you want to fool around. Now, his wife is listening in. That's in humor, because he has a wonderful family and a wonderful wife. And Telly and all of us in Yugoslavia were lonely, and we thought of our wives constantly. May we be paralyzed, God forbid, if we would lie. But being in Yugoslavia, the biggest excitement we had was watching Tito's dog go to the bathroom. So you must understand. Bob Newhart made the claim that he was my closest friend. I have never met Bob Newhart. I'll put it to you another way. Bob Newhart goes to many gay parties. That's why you hear him going, you want to dance? Cliff Robinson is a fantastic actor. Cliff is sort of like Clint Eastwood, kind of down, well, you died, Cliff. That's what you did. Cliff is the type of guy, you're in a raft and you're alone and you're a survivor, and Cliff Robinson is the guy with you, and you want the shark to bite you on the tushy so you have a little excitement. But you're a fantastic actor, Cliff. You've told me that many, many times. And I wish you in your career a lot of luck, really. You're marvelous. And thank you for coming. We've been so close. I met the guy once buying a paper. But thanks, Cliff, for coming by. I know how busy you are with your busy schedule, standing by the studio gate at Warner Brothers saying to the cop at the gate, won't anybody see me? But good luck to you. Rowan and Martin, you were completely bad. But I say this to Dick and Dan, one of the great teams. They hang out together. When Dan went on his raft around the world, Dick was saying, I hope the wind shifts. But they're a great team. They've had great success. They're going to be on NBC again this year. Look at this. They both went, are we? I don't know. I hope not. But I love you both, and you're marvelous men. Jack Klugman, I say from the bottom of my heart, Tony Randall feels he can work alone in the series. You are annoying. I never knew you had that much hair. You can't even tell. To see Jack Klugman in real life, you can skew off him in Telly Savalas. Joey Bishop, we won't bother you. I know you're just resting. The kid, Joey, I know him a long time. And I said to Joey when I got married, I said, Joey, I got married. He said, hey, you want to see my car? Joey and Cliff Robinson could hang out together. The two of you could just sit in the steam room and watch towels roll up. Lorne Greene, one of the great Jewish men of our time, who was, that's kind of funny because we all have backgrounds and he's a great American, and to be Pop Cartwright and stand around, it always struck me funny to see this man in Bonanza saying, all right, boys, let's get the horses up. No Jew rallies horses around. No way. We sit in a big wagon and go, bring those horses over here. Rich Little, someday you gotta do you and maybe your wife will leave you. You're a magnificent man. Foster Brooks, I cannot say your talent goes without speaking. You are a marvelous man, really. Pat Henry is my dear friend. He knows Frank Sinatra personally. In fact, they're that close. When Frank takes his car out, Pat runs in front of the car and checks for mines. You don't find guys with that kind of loyalty anymore. Frank did say to say hi to you, Dean. I know how much it means to you. Dean's the kind of guy you can say, God forbid, Frank Sinatra was hit by a bus. Well, I'm going to take my 9-iron and live right up on the green. And then Frank's going to hear your attitude and you're going to wind up on a hook in a garage in Chicago. Anyway, look at that. The big Irish guy went, what does that mean, Rose? You Irish guys, they don't know anything. You just know how to go to a picnic and take a can of beer and go... Well, we need the Irish. Because we ain't going to put out no fire. You can bet on that. Well, isn't it the truth? Get in there, Captain Duffy! Get in there, Quinn! Get that fire out! And the Jewish guys are usually outside. More wood, Herbie, more wood. And the black man's on the corner going, I bet we get blamed for this, too. And the Polish kid's going, for what? I'm a nice guy. Son of a gun, when you fool with the wife, you must light a match and blow up. And last but not least, Captain Cernan, I was overjoyed that this man would be here tonight. I must say, I was at the launch when Apollo 17 went to the moon. Many of us forget great courage and great Americans at a time of need with our country today, and I do not preach politics or just try to do jokes, but in this man I take exception because he is a delightful, wonderful, great hero. And I must tell you, ladies and gentlemen, to see that rocket take off from the launch pad and to be with his family and his dear ones, and to watch this great, wonderful human being call me the night before and say, hey, Don, we're going to go to the moon. Listen, why don't you go over to the Tiki Club or what have you with the wife and have a couple of drinks and boom, boom. It was so casual and so beautiful that I just stood in awe and I was mesmerized by this great hero. I say to all of you Americans, and not to embarrass you, Gene, I thank you for being here tonight. Most important, these are all performers, but you are really outstanding gentlemen. I thank you for coming. Captain Smith. I want to... Dean just said, I'll go to the moon tonight. You would, but nobody would look up. I must say, from the bottom of my heart, really, and Kirk Douglas, who was so kind to appear here tonight. Kirk is a dear friend. I was over his house one night, and we had dinner, and I said, Kirk, how do you feel? He said, how's my body look? And I said, wrinkled. I know what I said, Dean. You keep playing everything back. Just keep drinking and say to yourself, your voice is not gone. He's wonderful, though. Can you tell he's 68? Anyway, Catherine, his young wife's in the back. Is that how old he is? And you remember the joke? Tomorrow he dies. Anyway... I must say, on behalf of my dear wife that Foster Brooks made some comments about, she is a lovely lady. When we were married, I will never forget, on the wedding night, she looked at me and went, this is exciting. In all honesty, to all you married folks out there, I say from my heart, my wife, I married a Valium. A Valium. The guy in the back, the Puerto Rican kid went, what the Valium? And the Mexican guy went, that's something you plant, you dumb son of a... Anyway, gang. And the Italian guy, here's your Valium. Anyway, by the way, Phyllis Diller, who I love, really, when she was born, she must have hit the hospital wall. That's why the hair is, she'd come out, boom, the doctor went, oh, we missed Charlie. But I've seen many beautiful women in my lifetime. Phyllis, help her. She's a lovely comedian and a dear friend, and her wonderful husband, Ward Donovan, couldn't be here tonight. His cape blew up. On the wedding night, he stood on top of the sink and went, Batman! Anyway, I can say anything I want. Dan Rowan's sitting here going, you can't say that. What am I going to do? What you and Dick did on your special? And here he is, Charlie and his monkey. Anyway, which wasn't bad, because that'll be picked up. Anyway, I'd like you to know that on behalf of my wife, Barbara, my dear mother in Florida, who I love dearly, and I spoke to her on the phone tonight, I said, Mom, I'm going to be on Dean Martin's show. And she said, send him my love. She used to know Gabby Hayes. Anyway, but on behalf of my manager, Joseph Scandori, one of the great Italians, really, he's not here tonight, his ice truck blew up. But on behalf of my manager, Mr. Scandori, my darling wife, Barbara, my mother, my two children, my mother-in-law, and my family, I have been blessed with one thing. My humor is aggressive, it is nonsense. The Newharts are dear friends, the Rowan and Martins, everybody on this dais tonight has made me feel a little bit important. Each day as an actor, when you take an approach with an image of being aggressive and strong, you must wake up every morning, as my father said. He said, Don, when you're different, your heart is open to a little ache. But remember, when you're different, you might capture all the stars, but the whole world will not rally around you. but you have a chance of having them notice you. So go home at night, put your head on the pillow, and thank God for what you've attained. And maybe God will look down and say, hey, I am grateful to you, son, for doing something different. I like to think that I am different. I like to think that the public will understand me. If they do, I am grateful. To all of you, I wish you what I have, as I say in my performance when I appear. People around you who care.
That's our show for tonight. I'd like to thank our guests, and a very special thanks to our Man of the Week, Don Rickles, a man who's free of all prejudices. He hates everybody equally. Good night, everybody. I'm on my way home, Catherine. Warm up the hot chocolate.